Hi everyone, let's get started with this series of problem solving. Now I know that most of you would be knowing at very high level what problem solving means, but just to be sure from my end, let's have a very quick discussion about what problem solving means. So in problem solving, you are given one problem and you have to solve that problem using code. You have to program to solve that problem. So your code would be expecting some set of inputs and it will generate output. Now if for a given input, if your code is able to produce an expected output, then for that specific input, we can say that problem is solved. Now for all the inputs, even considering the edge cases, if your code is generating expected output, then we can say that your code really solved that particular problem. So let's take a very simple example of a problem, right? You are given two integers and you have to find sum of those two integers. Now, to solve this problem, what you would do is you would write this simple function where you would take two integer inputs, num1 and num2, and return the addition of those two numbers. Now, for all possible integer values, be it negative, positive, or zero, this function will generate correct output, right? So this is very simple example of what problem solving means. But there might be variety of different problems with different difficulties, right? So you might have question like what sort of skills are required for uh, problem solving. So you need to write code for solving problems. So obviously you need some knowledge of any programming language, be it C, C++, Java, Python, etc. Now you need not to be a expert in all of these, but you should know any one of these language, and it would be better if you know that particular language really very well. Also, you need some knowledge about data structures because you need to handle your data, your inputs inside your code in optimal way to solve that problem optimally. Also, you need some sort of knowledge for algorithms, different approaches for solving problems like dynamic programming, divide and conquer, and greedy approach, etc. So the next question that you might have is where we can uh, gain this knowledge, right? Where we can practice all these problems. So there are variety of platforms like HackerRank, HackerEarth, LeetCode, Geeks for Geeks, CodeChef, where you get different problems. They provide some sample inputs and their sample expected output. You write code for that and they test your code using for all the inputs, even considering edge cases, and by that way you can develop your skills for problem solving. Now if you are really rich, you can also use Algo Expert and educative.io, but they are paid, right? They are nice. Uh, their website provides nice way of learning these things, but as I mentioned, they are paid. Okay, and there are a lot of YouTube channels. Sorry, let me correct it. Not lot, huge amount of YouTube channels available out there, which you can help you to develop your problem solving skills. But let me do some marketing for my channel. How Common Coder can help you to develop skills required for problem solving, right? So if you do a careful analysis of problems, then we can see that uh, problems can be categorized into different patterns because most of the problems follow some sort of pattern. So what I really mean by this thing is that let's take an example. There are 10 to 15 problems that can be solved by a similar pattern, by same kind of a pattern. So if you really know how to solve a one sample problem for that pattern, you can use the knowledge and solve another problem which follows the similar pattern, right? So you need not to mug up the solution for all possible problems out there. You just need to know the patterns, right? So you knowing a pattern, you can solve all possible problems that follow similar patterns. Now, I don't know how much you are gaining from this slide, but trust me, when I started learning using this patterns approach, by solving one sample problem, one easy problem for a given pattern, I was really able to solve advanced problems for that can be solved using the same pattern. Okay, so uh, also this kind of an approach is also followed by educative.io. They have also grouped problems into various patterns, and but the thing is that the their content is paid and it's totally written content. No video tutorials are provided for that. If you want to follow them, please feel free to follow them. I will provide link in the description to all those platforms, and even including educative.io. But how we will tackle this thing differently on this channel, right? So we will see one pattern, we will solve some sample problem for that pattern, and then we will solve similar problems that try to follow the similar pattern. So we will take so I please pay attention to the word similar. When we solve a problem for a given pattern, we do some modifications in that pattern and the other problems we can solve. Okay, so for each and every problem, what we will have is we will have one approach discussion. We will look at the problem, we will start approaching that problem, we will start with really naive solution, and then we will move towards uh, developing an optimal solution for that problem. And once we have reached to the optimal solution, we will code that solution out using one programming language. So seems like we have a lot of tasks to do. So without wasting any further time, let's get started.